We'll call the Dallas City Council meeting to order at 7 p.m. Ask the city recorder to call the roll.
Council President Briggs.
Here.
Councilor Blosser.
Here.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilor Holzapfel.
Here.
Councilor Jantz.
Here.
Councilor Schilling.
Here.
Councilor Shane.
Here.
Ivy.
Here.
Councilor Barrientos is excused.
All right, we have a quorum. Would everyone please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Do we have any introductions, recognitions, or proclamations tonight?
Do not, Mayor.
All right, we'll move right on to public comment. For the record, please provide us with your name and whether or not you live inside the city limits. You have up to 3 minutes. It's your turn to talk and ours to listen. You are responsible for the content, even if it was written by someone else. Please direct all comments to the mayor. Do not direct your comments to individual councilors, staff members, or the audience. Defamatory or libelous comments will not be accepted. It is expected that you will maintain decorum and respect for each other. A wide variety of viewers watch these proceedings. Therefore, we would kindly ask that you refrain from the use of offensive language and name calling. Distractions that take attention from the speaker, the audience, city council members, and city staff are asked to focus on the speaker during their time by being respectfully quiet. And first person I have up is Barry Grant.
My name is Barry Grant. I live here in Dallas, Oregon. I'm a low-sided person, if you didn't catch that. I've been walking with a cane for years, and in June, I got my boy, about a year earlier than expected, so I'm excited about that. But I wanted to share the importance of, please, when you're looking at planning committee, are they thinking about pedestrians, okay? I had ODOT talk to me about 2 deaths of pedestrians between Lyle School and the entrance to Walmart over a 5-year period. I'm thinking those are high odds for not living too long. So I have expressed a desire that people, that you, Mayor, consider the needs of pedestrians. Not everybody drives a car. I'd like to say it was too many drunk driving offenses, but that's not the case. I used a cane for years and years. I want to share. When you see a person with a cane standing like this, they're not trying to go anywhere. They're just standing there waiting patiently for traffic to whatever. However, if you see a person, tapping their cane back and forth like this, usually not that high, but I don't want to hit anything else, that tells you as a driver that this person is about to step out. Now, they may have some sight, they may not, okay? So that I wanted to share that with you. The other thing I want to share with you is my boy. My boy is totally kibble focused. Good boy. When he is guiding me with the harness, well, heel with the harness. Heel, good boy. He is responsible for my life. I trust him with my life. He takes me to the curb. He stops at a curb. He lets me know. I give him a piece of kibble, and we cross the street. When we get across, I put one step on the curb. I give him another piece of kibble because he's been a good boy, and he deserves that because he's kept me safe. Okay, so when you see me, and I don't know if there's anybody else in town who has a seeing-eye dog. I know there are other people with a white cane. If you do, if you see me, I will stop, give him a piece of kibble. It takes me about 2 seconds to reach in to find it and feed him without being my hand nod. And then I cross, and once he gets that, he shoots across. So if it is at a crosswalk, he gets his kibble, he's going. Okay, so please, if you're at a crosswalk, please stop and let us be crossed safely.
I thank you, Barry. That's time.
Thank you very much, appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Barry. That was very helpful. Do we have anyone else who is given testimony tonight in the audience? If not, do we have anyone online? All right, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have three things on the consent agenda tonight: the approval of the September 2nd work session minutes, the approval of the September 2nd City Council meeting minutes, and the August 2025 financial report. Does anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda tonight?
To approve.
Second.
Been moved by Councilor Schilling and seconded by Councilor Shane. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as written, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Reports and comments from the mayor and council members. I have nothing tonight. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to report? Councilor Shane.
Yeah, just a very brief comment. The last time we met, I made a pitch for selling tickets for the Moonfall show that benefited the Friends of the Library. Went to that show Saturday night. It was very gratifying to see that we had a full house, which means the Friends got the full benefit of this nonprofit support, and saw a good show into the bargain. So if any of you were instrumental in buying tickets or persuading people to, thank you for doing that.
Councilor Blosser.
I'm kind of biased, but I wanted to bring to everybody's attention that if you have an opportunity on a Friday night to go see Dallas football play, they're doing amazing this year. As a man who played semi-professional sports and also coached for a lot of years, they're fun to watch. They've got a great coaching staff, and they went up to PIL, which if you live in a small town, you go to Portland and you win by 65-0. It's a big deal. Andy Jackson has put together an amazing program. So if you guys have the opportunity to go support them, I guarantee you a good time. And even Mr. Lotta has a invested interest in that. His son is doing amazing this year. So very proud of the team and the work that they've done. So if you have a chance, please go support them. And we're going to be talking more about them later. So thank you.
Donnie, anyone else have anything tonight? Councilor Briggs.
I'd just like to remind everybody that the second podcast has dropped. Jennifer Ward was the first, and Tara from she wasn't representing the council. What was she representing? Chamber was on the second one, and they're doing a great job. So take a few minutes and just watch those. They're really good.
Second that.
Anyone else have anything else tonight? If not, we'll move on to reports from the city manager and staff.
All right, thank you, Mayor Slack. So we have a few reports tonight. The first is the Friends of the Dallas Aquatic Center. So I'll invite Ann Hurd and Dean Sprague to come up, and they can talk about an exciting project that was just done at the Aquatic Center recently with their support.
I'd like to introduce Dean Sprague. He is our media guru. He did our website. He's set up and videoed all of our video interviews that we did last September. God, was it a year ago? Yeah. Anyway, and when the new lights were about to be put in, he had the great idea to take before and after pictures to put up on our website because our patrons paid for these new lights, $10,750. Well, they haven't paid it yet, but the money's all there for when the bills come in. And so he took the video. First of all, it's not very long, so you have to look fast. First of all, he's going to show the old lights. So many of them, you can't even see them because they're totally dark. Others have bulbs missing, and it's dark in there. And then he's going to show the lift truck putting up the lights, and they're just on the deck, so it was easy, relatively easy to do. And then the new lights, what it looks like now, and then at the end, the banners, how nice the banners look with the new lighting. And we have a couple new banners going up. The latest one is from Victory Roofing. We just finished re-roofing and building a deck on my house. They're fantastic. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Dean.
Oh, I think that's about all I was going to say was the video's in 4 parts. Old lights, installation, new lights, and then a trip around looking at the walls under the new lights.
With his drone.
Oh, yes, yeah, I flew my drone. Don't try flying your drone indoors.
Especially over water, huh?
Yeah.
Still have,
Over water.
do you still have the drone?
Yeah, however, I crashed a couple of times in practice. So not in the pool.
Well, that's what practice is for.
Yeah, yeah. Don't practice in your living room.
Good advice.
All right. I don't know what you do. So I can hit this button here, right there. There we go. So, is there sound?
You can see how dark it is.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, you can see more lights that are out by the reflections that are dark and cool.
So, I didn't like the silence, so I just.
Oh, yeah. So we need to turn the sound up.
So I just added a little of my guitar playing.
What
in the
doesn't he do?
background.
Yeah.
So if you go back to the beginning, Dean, and start over.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There's a monitor straight ahead of you too, if that's easier.
That'd be too easy.
Sorry.
I know. You just. Don't tell them that it ran into a pole. Yeah, it's one with the flags on it, bends a little bit. They also use that lift to put up the new scoreboard for the swim meets.
Yeah.
Now, here are the
These
new
are
lights.
What a difference.
It looks brand new when you're in there.
What a difference.
I know. And that pool that's kind of green is going to be replaced. The plaster's going to be replaced.
Yeah.
We're getting bids on it now. See how blue the lap pool is? That was done a few years ago. It's just so bright now. It's just so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's what they look like. A lot smaller than the other ones.
They're really bright though.
And here are the banners. We're running out of space, but we'll figure it out.
That's a good problem to have.
I know. There in the vertical space is where the big one's going to go, vertically. Yeah, so that's our report.
There you go.
It's great. That's a
Very
huge difference.
Very nice.
We actually went down Saturday. I forgot about the lights and I walked in and I was kind of half asleep when we were hitting the hot tub and I was like, it took you a second to realize how much brighter it is. Looks great.
Some people said, oh, it's too bright, but then the next day, no, I know.
Oh, no, it's good.
It's a big change.
Job.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Am I correct in thinking that not only are they a lot brighter, but they probably use less energy?
They do,
Thought so.
for sure.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'll just wrap up a couple points of that. We just added this project to the capital improvement plan this last year with the intention of having the project to be done in 27, 28. However, because of the scoreboard replacement, that was funded through a grant from the Dallas Community Foundation, correct? We had to get the lift anyway to be able to do that. And we said, hey, since we have the lift, we might as well look at the lights. And so working with the Friends and Jennifer and Gretchen and the team at the Aquatic Center, we just put out some quotes, got some information on what it would take to do that. We initially estimated just kind of the, throw the spaghetti against the wall and put in the capital improvement plan, I think $70,000, $80,000. This project ended up getting done for under $11,000. And we're going to realize energy savings because, again, went from the old light style with the tube lighting to the LEDs. And so we're going to realize electricity savings as well with this project. So a really great project. Very grateful for the Friends and all their contribution to making this project a reality. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. And our banner payments are coming in. We have 14,000 banner payments every year. And with that, the money we already still have in the account, we're hoping to help with a lot of that cost for replastering the music school. It will be stripped in the new classroom. Thank you.
One plug. Maybe you should go look at the FDACOregon.org website. That's our website. We have lots of interviews from people in there, views of the pool, a place for you to donate. And direct it out.
All right,
Guys
thank
do
you.
great work, thank you.
We love it. It's our passion.
I know.
All right, Mayor. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the intergovernmental agreement with the Office of the Secretary of State of Oregon. And this is for the Oregon Records Management System intergovernmental agreement that we have. So we talked about this during our work session at the beginning of September. If you recall, we have all of our records. We're trying to get them digitized and put into the system. And so it just happened that the intergovernmental agreement was updated by the Secretary of State. They wanted to update their terms and conditions. Again, this is a free service. That was one of the things that they clarified in this IGA because it wasn't really spelled out in the original IGA that was signed by the city back in, I believe, 2014, 2016. And so that was clarified. There were some additional clarifications, just improving the readability. There were some punctuation and other things that need to be fixed. They updated the formatting. They clarified again that it's a no charge agreement. The ownership of the system is the state. We don't own the system. We do own the data that we input, but not the actual system itself. It clarifies any dispute resolution and claims, and it ties the expiration of the agreement to the expiration of the master service agreement with the ORMS system. So the provider for ORMS is...
That's in perpetuity?
Yes. Yep. So those are the changes in the IGA. I didn't give you the old IGA and the new one because they didn't give us a redlined version. So I figured instead of spending a lot of time, but we pulled out what the changes were, and that's what we're looking at. So again, it's a no-cost agreement to the city. It's a system that we use. We think we should continue to have it. So we bring intergovernmental agreements to the governing body, which is you, to approve. So there's a recommended motion on the bottom of page 31.
Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to authorize the city manager to sign the IGA and the Oregon Secretary of State for Electronic Records Management Consulting Services.
Second.
By Councilor Blosser and Councilor Shane has seconded it. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item.
Slack. So our next item is a purchase of property by the city of Dallas at 645 Southeast Fur Villa Road. So this property is immediately adjacent to and south of John Barnard Park, which is under construction. It's a little less than 5 acres in size. It's made up of 2 tax lots. There's the main lot that includes a house that fronts onto Fur Villa Road, and then there is a lot of property behind it. Then there's another tax lot that's just on the northern edge of the property. It's really thin, probably 15 to 20 feet wide, and then several hundred feet long. And so that's about 1,800 square, or it's fairly small. Anyways, we're purchasing both of those pieces of property. The property does contain a house. It's 2,250 square feet roughly. There's 2 small garden sheds and an 1,800 square foot machine shop. The machine shop's located a little bit behind the house. And so we're looking at, again, acquiring the entire property. And in the future, after the purchase is completed, if that's what the council decides to do, we will partition off the house and some of the property and sell that property, including the house with the garden sheds, to a prospective buyer. Again, that's not been identified yet. We haven't even gone through the transaction to own it. But when we do that, the money that's recovered from the sale of that transaction in the future would go back into the system development charge revenue for parks, which is the funding that's being used to pay for this land purchase. The negotiated contract is for $870,000. The seller is responsible for all the closing costs, so that's the final number. There's not any additional costs with the transaction that the city is responsible for. So all taxes, title fees, other things like that will be paid by the seller. And so again, the parks system development charge revenue is the funding source that would pay for this. Just as a reminder to the council and the public listening to this tonight, park system development charges are fees that are collected through development and from developers. So when a building permit is issued for residential or commercial development, they pay a park SDC, a system development charge. It's like an impact fee. Those fees can only be used for park expansion or enhancement projects. It cannot be used for maintenance. So if we had like a broken swing set, I can't replace that swing set with a new swing set with this funding. But if a swing set didn't exist in a park, I could add that swing set with this money. So we're looking to buy property that we don't currently own to add to our park system, which is an eligible use for this park SDC money. And so that's what we're proposing to do. Again, $870,000 is the negotiated purchase price. We have a contract that's subject to council approval. So there is a recommended motion on page 43 to authorize the purchase of the property.
To approve the purchase of the property at 645 Southeast Villa Road.
Second.
There's some discussion, Larry.
Question or
Larry had a
two.
question. Okay.
Yeah, what did we authorize you on that, Brian? 875?
Yeah, so the maximum that you authorized me was $875,000.
That's how you got, I know you went back and forth.
I did. So the seller initially wanted $900,000 for the property. And so, I countered to their ask with saying there's some things that we're going to have to do to make the property work for the city, right? We don't want the house, so we're going to have to go through a partition process. And I valued that at around, I'm going to use these, I don't have the numbers written down, so I'm going to use it off memory. I think I estimated that at like $15,000. And then I said there are some, there's a drainage way that kind of cuts through the property. There's probably some associated wetlands with that. We didn't do a wetland delineation, didn't want to spend the money on that. Again, I'm not overly concerned about the wetlands in the long run with the proposed park use, but it would have more of an impact, like let's say if we were a developer and wanted to develop that land, then there's remediation and other things that are associated with that. I estimated that at $30,000 of impact. And then I also looked at, there's one other factor, I'm trying to remember what it was. Yes, it was actually condition of the house. So we estimated that we would have to maybe replace the roof, and I estimated that at I think $10,000 to $15,000. So I went in with an offer of I believe $835,000 with all of those concessions and items that were identified, and said we're willing to offer that. They came back and said we really were hoping for something a little higher. I said, well, we're not going to get to 900,000. It's going to be less than that. And so I said, it's probably not fair for us to assume and to put the burden on the seller for the future partitioning of the property, right? Because that's just what we need to do. It's nothing that they had to do. It's what we needed to do to make the property palatable for us in the future. So I put that $15,000 back onto our offer. And then I looked at the condition of the house and said, there's risk associated there a little bit with us because, again, we don't know if the roof needs to be replaced. We don't know of any other repairs that might need to take place. And so I said, we'll assume 75% of that risk, but you have to assume 25%. So that brought that number up a little bit higher again, putting that back onto our offer. So that's how we ended up with $870,000.
answer your question? All right, I had a motion by Counselor Schilling and a second by Counselor Shane. Is there any other discussion?
Just
Counselor
want to
Schilling?
reiterate one more time, Brian did a very good job. But I've been asked multiple times about this since we went out for a police station and we were unable to fund it. One more time, these are SDC fees paid by developers when they're subdividing or building. And these fees are a bucket of money and can only be used for expansion or additions to existing facilities. So this is why we can afford to do this, and it is an awesome piece of property because we will have Kingsborough Park, and as you're working from the west to the east, Kingsborough Park, then you have this Dallas City Park, then you have the Aquatic Center Park, and then you'll have this on the far east side of town.
I'll just add, it can only be used for expansion of parks facilities.
Parks.
Not general fund facilities, right? The police station's a general fund facility. Parks SDCs cannot be used for that. It could only be used for parks expansion projects.
We talk about this a lot ourselves, but I think it's good to bring it up again because most people don't know that a lot, probably the lion's share of the money that the city spends on things are funds that have to be used for one thing and one thing only. Under state law, we have no discretion. This is just one example of it, and it's a good point to remind people of occasionally.
I recall this leaves funds in there for us to continue with the pickleball courts.
Yes, so there's a little over, I believe it's over $2 million in parks SDCs right now, or roughly around $2 million. So this will take, a little less than $1 million of that. Again, once we sell the house and the property associated with that we're not going to use for park purposes, we expect to recover, at least half of the money we're spending here. And so that will go back into the park SDCs. And so we expect when all said and done, we're going to have, over $1.5 million of parks SDC funds still available for future expansion projects like new pickleball courts or, play equipment. If we're buying new play equipment in a park that doesn't have some, we're looking at potentially doing some ADA equipment, new ADA equipment that doesn't exist. That would be eligible for parks SDCs as another example of a future project that might come before the council.
Counselor Shane.
Yeah, since we're down in the weeds just a little bit on this, just a question for clarification. If we ripped out, completely removed a set of playground equipment and replaced it with brand new stuff, could we use SDC funds for that?
It's considered a maintenance or a replacement. The caveat to that is if you took out a non-ADA compliant playground equipment and you replaced it with ADA accessible playground equipment, that would be eligible because you are expanding the accessibility, right? More people now can use that than could before.
So, utility, yeah, okay.
Right. So correct. So that is an example of almost a replacement, but you're replacing it with something different, something new that did not exist before. And so we have felt through legal that that's an allowed use for SDC funds.
So is that fun with the building slowing down, growing at a slower pace now?
Yeah, I would say anecdotally, yes, but it also depends on, the types of projects. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the single-family residential development, but we're seeing some uptick in commercial activity, including apartment complexes. And so parks SDCs for commercial projects, we actually collected there's a higher volume of revenue from that than there is with single-family. And so I wouldn't say that we're seeing the growth of the fund slow. It's been pretty steady. Yeah. It's just who is paying that, what types of development are paying that is changing.
It's good discussion.
Any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor of purchasing the property
Say aye.
would say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, first reading of ordinance 1915.
Ordinance 1915 is an ordinance amending Dallas Development Code Chapter 2.10 regarding historic preservation regulations. This is a complete repeal and replace of Chapter 2.10 in the city's development code. We had a public hearing on this. So again, it's a complete repeal and replace of what's there. We will bring back an ordinance that will add some municipal code language regarding the duties of the Historic Preservation Commission, because we did take that out of the development code and we're putting that in municipal code. That'll be a separate ordinance. We wanted to get this approved and on to the state for their acknowledgement while we work through that separate ordinance process.
Discussion? If not, I'll declare it passes first reading. Second reading of ordinances, ordinance number 1912.
Thank you, Mayor Slack. Ordinance 1912 is an ordinance amending provisions of the Dallas Development Code, Section 2.5.030, relating to the establishment of a recreational vehicle park in conjunction with a golf course. So again, we had a public hearing on this, approval from the council to bring an ordinance to you to enact the change. This would allow an RV park in our parks and open space zoning as long as it's associated with a golf course. Again, not a disc golf course. This is traditional golf with sticks and balls.
Discussion? If not, I'll ask the city recorder to take a roll call vote.
Counselor Blosser,
Here.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Counselor Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Counselor Holzapfel,
Yes.
Counselor Jantz,
Yes.
Counselor Schilling,
Yes.
Counselor Shane,
Yes.
Ivy,
Yes.
Council President Briggs.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Next, we have ordinance number 1913.
Thank you, Mayor Slack. Ordinance 1913 is an ordinance declaring 415 Hawthorne Avenue annexed to the city of Dallas and withdrawn Southwest Polk County Rural Fire Protection District and designating the zoning of said property as a residential medium density RM. So just a reminder to the council, this went through a public hearing process that was duly advertised, and the council voted to approve the annexation subject to the adoption of the enacting ordinance. This is the enacting ordinance. It's passed its first reading and is now through its second reading. Just a reminder, the applicant proposed high-density residential. The council modified that approval to medium-density residential. This is the 1 acre property on Hawthorne Avenue at 415 Hawthorne.
Discussion? If not, I'll ask the city recorder to take a roll call vote.
Counselor Fitzgerald,
No.
Counselor Holzapfel,
Yes.
Counselor Jantz,
Yes.
Counselor Schilling,
Yes.
Counselor Shane,
Yes.
Counselor Spivey,
Yes.
Council President Briggs,
No.
Counselor Blosser.
No.
5-3.
That passes 5-3. Next, we have a reading of ordinance 1914.
Slack, ordinance 1914, an ordinance declaring 11875 Orrs Corner Road annexed to the city of Dallas and withdrawn from southwestern Polk County Rural Fire Protection District and designating the zoning of said property as parks and open space. So just as a reminder to the council, this is the Dallas Golf Club property. It was subject to a public hearing that was duly advertised to the public. The council voted to approve the annexation and the zoning of said property to the Parks and Open Space Zone. And the ordinance passed its first reading and has now gone through a second reading and is subject to a roll call vote.
Any discussion on this? Ms. Larry?
I know it was mentioned in the previous one as well. It says withdrawn from Southwestern Polk County Fire Protection District. What does that mean?
So right now, only properties that are within the city limits are served by Dallas Fire and EMS, right? More Dallas, it's more fire protection services than it is EMS because our ambulance service area does extend outside the city limits. So right now, these two properties are outside the city limits, so they're not served by Dallas Fire. Once they're annexed into the city, they then become serviced by Dallas Fire Protection Services And so we have to withdraw them from the special district, the fire district, the service, Southwest Polk Rural Fire Protection District currently serves those two properties. And so by annexing them, we're saying that they are no longer served by that district after the annexation becomes effective. In both of these ordinances for annexation, there's a unique state law. I reference it in the staff report. I'll go back to it so I can reference the exact number. I believe it's ORS 222.040. There it is. And so what that state law says is annexations approved within 90 days of an election require their effective date to be the day after the election and not 30 days after the ordinance is adopted. The reason for that is all about the election, right? Because a property that is annexed within that 90-day window of the election, the county has already started processing the election paperwork, and they're going to mail a ballot to that property owner. Well, if that property owner is no longer in the county or maybe the special district, then they shouldn't have the right to vote on a measure or maybe a board member change of that special district because that special district no longer serves them, right? So if there's an annexation within that 90-day window of an election, you delay the annexation effective date until the day after the election. So that way the people who live on that property are voting for the right people and the right ballot measures. In this case, Southwest Polk Rural Fire Protection District is having an election in November. And so these properties are subject to that special district today. So we don't want to monkey with the election for Southwest Polk. We want those people to be able to vote. And so the effective date of these two ordinances will not be until November 5th. Kind of a little bit unique, but that's what that means.
Skating the gerrymandering, kinda, sorta.
We're not allowing, we're not allowing them to vote in an election that they shouldn't have a legal right to vote in.
Yeah, it's Oregon.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Any other discussion? If not, I'll ask the city recorder to call the roll call vote.
Counselor Holzapfel?
Yes.
Counselor Jantz?
Yes.
Counselor Schilling?
Yes.
Counselor Shane?
Yes.
Counselor Spivey?
Yes.
Council President Briggs?
Yes.
Counselor Blosser?
Yes.
Counselor Fitzgerald?
The ordinance passes unanimously. All right. Do we have any other business to bring before the council this evening? If not, I'll declare the meeting adjourned at 7:37.